What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Anime Station. I'm just a fan theme information, including a sponge lives in a pineapple under the sea, as well as TVs and movies as well. I'm your host, Jackson Small, and welcome back once again to SpongeBob on Chapter 5, and once again, we have a pretty good double feature for you guys today. Yes, only one of these episodes is just okay, but honestly, I will take okay over the abysmal garbage we had to take a look at last time. So, today we're looking at the definitive best of the Season 5 shorts, that is SpongeBob versus the Patty Gadget, and the okay, but including a very memorable song episode known as Money Talks. So, you guys know how it works by now. We review each of them separately. I'll talk about my favorite moment, and then we move on to the very end with final thoughts and rankings, and then it's sayonara to the next review. You're getting 2 more episode reviews today because I want to make a spot tomorrow for a bunch of big content that I'm really excited to do. So, yes, I have some big plans for tomorrow, so I want to make sure I have my schedule cleaned out so I have room for it. So, definitely make sure you hit that notification bell because you're not going to want to miss what I got coming. So, without further ado or delays, let's begin this review with SpongeBob versus the Patty Gadget. The best way that I can describe SpongeBob versus the Patty Gadget, outside of it obviously being a Season 5 short, is that it's a SpongeBob episode, but it's like if it was written by Dr. Seuss. I know it sounds like a weird thing to say, but let me explain. Why do I say it's a SpongeBob episode if it was made by Dr. Seuss? Because the entire thing, from its simplicity to its overall format and template, it's very reminiscent of a Dr. Seuss book. Not only that, the whole episode's entirely in rhyme. From the dialogue to the narration from Patchy, it's all 100% in rhyme. So, naturally, being a huge Seuss fan myself, I definitely was going to be a fan of this episode. And not only that, I also got excited about this episode because, well, this is actually one I've watched the least. And it's not because I think the episode's bad. Far from it, it's great. But it's because after about halfway through Season 5, I kind of just gave up on the show and stopped watching. So, it wasn't until much later on that I saw some of these other episodes for the first time, including this one. And this one, I gotta say, this is about my 3rd time watching it now. And I gotta say, I gotta watch it more, because this episode is great. It may be a Season 5 short, but it is by far the best of the Season 5 shorts. The plot's simple. It's SpongeBob versus Squidward in a competition. You know, Squidward brings in this giant Krabby Patty making gadget, and he puts it against SpongeBob's cooking. And it becomes like an old school SpongeBob versus Squidward rivalry episode. Do I think it's better than something like Employee of the Month? No, probably not. But as far as rivalry episodes go, and Squidward episodes go, this is one of the better ones. Not to mention, again, the whole thing's in rhyme, which means it leaves a lot of room for not only humor, but a lot of clever wordplay. The Squidward acne line got me laughing the most when I first watched it. That line, and the way they made it rhyme is hilarious. I love the ending, where it has a nice bit of dark humor. And it's just an episode that gets crazier and crazier. And yes, it is only 5 minutes, if that. It's a very, very short episode. But it has some really good moments. And my highlight of the episode is honestly just the entire battle of SpongeBob versus Squidward's Patty Gadget. It is so entertaining, it is so creative, it is so unique, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. That whole segment, from start to finish, pretty much the entire episode right there, is on the line. Oh, not to mention, the Patrick had to go pee rhyme also made me laugh too. So, yeah, this is a fantastic episode of SpongeBob, and it really shows the potential that these Season 5 shorts had if a lot of them weren't rushed out garbage. So, yeah, it's a Season 5 short, it's the best of the Season 5 shorts, and it is a great episode of SpongeBob. Highly underrated. I highly recommend checking out this one. Final verdict is a 9 out of 10, and it only gets funnier every time I see it. It might be a 10 one day, I don't know. And from what I've seen online after watching this episode the first 2 times, yeah, it's another one of those episodes that's highly praised as one of the best in modern SpongeBob. And I can kind of see why, because it is a very fun and entertaining episode. So why is it not a 10? Well, because it is very short. I feel like this is one that they definitely could have made 11 minutes. But it's only 5 minutes, maybe 6, but they utilize that time well, and it's still a fantastic watch. It's too brief, but it is still very entertaining. Alright, that's enough about that. Let's move on to Money Talks. If there was one word that I had to use to describe the episode Money Talks to you, the audience, it would be weird. It's in character for the character it focuses on, but it's so just weird. This is a very weird episode of SpongeBob. And I don't mean that as in it's a bad episode. As an episode itself, it's just okay. But I love its concept, it does have some really good moments, and it does have a fantastic song. But we'll talk about the song at the end. That's, spoiler alert, the highlight of the episode, so we're going to save it to the end. So in this episode, Mr. Krabs makes a deal with the Flying Dutchman to talk to Money. But the money only wants to be spent, so it drives him absolutely crazy. And that's pretty much the entire episode. Not only do we get to see the Flying Dutchman again, which is great, and it's also a better, way better appearance of him than freaking Ghost Host, which was just awful. And it's just a really weird episode, because it's like, yeah, Mr. Krabs and money. Yeah, it fits his character, but it's just so weird and out there that I kind of have to respect it, just for being so bizarre. Like, it's hard to describe, but it is an episode that's very strange. I love its concept, don't get me wrong, and I do think that they executed it well, but I feel like they didn't have to make this one 11 minutes. I feel like this one should have been the short, and the other one should have been the 11-minute episode. Because Money Talks as an episode is just okay, because the pacing in second act is pretty bad. The whole talking to money scenes, it starts out funny, and then it just gets really tiring, because most of the dialogue is them just saying, "Spend us! Spend us!" Like, that gets annoying after a while. And then there's some pointless scenes with SpongeBob that go absolutely nowhere. In other words, he didn't even need to be in the episode. And then it has a weird ending. The ending's funny, but it's also really weird. Here's the ending. Mr. Krabs tries to take back his wish to the Flying Dutchman so he can no longer talk to money, because the whole spend us chant is driving him crazy. But instead, it turns out he has to give his soul to the Dutchman. But then here comes the kicker. It turns out Krabs already sold his soul to a bunch of other ghosts and SpongeBob. So, Dutchman has to go to the back of the line and wait his turn to get at Mr. Krabs. And that's how the episode ends. Like, it's a weird cutoff, but it's a hilarious gag, so I'm not really sure how I feel about it. And then we'll go ahead and talk about the highlight now. It's definitely the song, "If I Could Talk to Money." Like, that song, I mean, it shouldn't be that good, but it's one of those songs I just haven't been able to stop myself from humming every now and then. I don't watch this episode very often, but I remember this song vividly because I have it on my SpongeBob song playlist. It is a very short song, but it has a really nice sea shanty feel to it. And the part where he tries to get Squidward to sing and Squidward just says no. That part did make me laugh. And again, SpongeBob very rarely ever has bad songs. So, even in episodes that I'm not a big fan of, they do find a way to at least make the songs enjoyable. And this is one of the best examples of that. It's an average episode, but the song does elevate it a little bit. Because the song is really enjoyable, has a really bouncy feel to it, and it does stick in your head after you hear it. Some people say it's a bit of a meh song. I can kind of understand it, but me, I've always personally liked it. So, yeah, with all that said, I mean, final verdict for this episode's a 5. It's okay. It has a really good song, but that's about it, because the content's wasted on filler. SpongeBob has no point being in the episode whatsoever. And while the ending is funny, it's so just weird, and it doesn't really resolve the plot at all. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this one. Let's go ahead and move on to final thoughts and rankings. Okay, so moving on to final thoughts and rankings. We kind of already know who wins this one. I mean, there's a pretty huge score gap, but I don't think the second place should be in shame, because yes, the episode that gets it is Money Talks, and it's a weird episode, but I kind of have to respect the SpongeBob writers and crew for doing something so out there, so out of the box, and so bizarre, so strangely memorable. The episode itself is still average, but I give them props for the ambition. And speaking of ambition, that right there is why number 1 goes to SpongeBob vs. the Patty Gadget. Like, it has a simple plot, it's only 5 minutes long, but man, does it stick with you after you see it. It's funny, the rhymes are great, the actual battle is great, and it ends on a really funny dark joke. What more could you want? Well, that's it for this review. Apologies for what happened to my voice. I don't know what happened there. Guess my throat's getting parched? I don't know. Maybe I need to go rehydrate. SpongeBob joke. Yeah, I know, I'm not funny. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this almost every single day. And I'll see you next time when we get into our next episode review, which is Slimy Dancing and the weird anomaly that is the Krusty Sponge. See you next time. We cannot take it anymore. The time has come to go.